Hey guys, I'm Norb.
And I'm Mike.
And we are The Watchmen.
The men who watch.
If it's on a screen, we're watching it, talking about it, and sharing our thoughts on it with you.
Today we are going to review a film from 2015 called Chappie.
Yes, but before we jump into it, first I wanted to quick shout out to all of you. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, thanks for doing so. We'd love it if you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and the notification bell. And that way you will not miss any future episodes. And for those of you who are listening on our podcast, thank you for doing so. Please tell your friends, and we appreciate your support very much. All right, Chappie.
Chappie, in the near future, a mechanized police force patrols the streets and deals with lawbreakers. But now, the people are fighting back. When one police droid is stolen and given new programming, he acquires the ability to feel and think for himself. While the robot, dubbed Chappie, puzzles out human behavior, the authorities begin to see him as a danger to mankind and order. They will stop at nothing to ensure that Chappie is the last of his kind. It's Short Circuit meets Robocop. Chappie.
That's a good way to put it.
Can you tell that last sentence I added myself?
That's accurate, though. That's a very pretty good.
Thank you. I will take credit for that. I assume we can go spoiler full on this one, right? It's a 5-year-old film.
I think so. Yeah. So warning, spoilers. Spoiler alert.
Full.
Spoilers coming.
This movie was directed by Neil Blomkamp and stars Dion as Dev Patel plays Dion, the main character. Yolandi is played by Yolandi Visser. Ninja is played by Watkin Tudor Jones. Vincent is played by Hugh Jackman. Familiar face there. And Chappie is played by Charlton Copley. I think I said that right. And this actor is the staple of all of Neil's films. He's in every one of them.
And don't forget Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver's in this movie too.
Yes, Sigourney Weaver plays a token corporate executive. So Norb, you wanna start?
Okay, let me start with the positives about this movie. And first, I thought they did a really excellent job with how they created Chappie's movements and just his appearance on screen. Obviously, we've seen a lot of movies now where we see mechanized creatures from Transformers and things like that, but this one on a scale where Chappie is a human-sized person, so everything's close and intimate. So you see him walking in mud puddles and touching people and just having very small, intimate interactions. I thought they did a really good job of the effects not being noticeable. I certainly didn't notice it at all. It wasn't like there was this weird CG aspect. It really looked like I was looking at this robot walking around and doing things. So
I noticed it.
You did notice it at times?
It was usually when he would interact with a real person. Sometimes the way I'd see his Chappie hand on them or their hand, I could see the rotoscoping going on with the digital additions, because obviously they have to do that.
That might have been the part where I was watching a little bit on my phone, so I might have missed the detail on that.
That would help.
So it made everything look great. So I was going to give my hats off to how good a job they did. But I thought that aspect was good. The cinematography, the use of slow-mo on certain parts, I found kind of cool. They did the old Matrix thing for certain heightened moments of action and things like that. So that part of it I found really well executed. But then I'm short on much other positives, so I'm going to let you go to positives because I have a lot more negative things to say. So I'm going to toss it to you.
I think I'm right there with you.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Positive-wise, I guess the positive-wise is I was trying to have a positive attitude watching this movie because I really like Neil Blomkamp's other films. District 9 was good, and really good. I liked Elysium too. Now, both of those movies weren't perfect, but I liked them. And Chappie is one that I missed, and one reason I missed it is it didn't get a really good critical review. And I think and plus I was like, Short Circuit? I already saw Short Circuit. I don't need another Short Circuit movie. It took me to number 5 is Alive. And so I skipped it. But we were talking about a review, and I thought, this is one that we missed. Maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it's better than we think. Maybe with our expectations low, we'll enjoy it. Well, sadly, that didn't help. I mean, the positives you said, I guess I could agree with. But after that, it's unfortunately for me, a lot of negatives. I will say one funny thing. While I was watching this movie, Norm, I don't know why, and I had this going through my head, but for some reason, and I never saw the movie Radio. Never saw it. And I think one reason I never saw the movie Radio is during the trailer, there's a big line where the guy says, "We're not teaching radio, radio teaching us." And for some reason during this whole movie, I kept saying to myself, "We not teaching Chappie, Chappie teaching us." And
I never saw Radio either. Was that also a similar robot kind of? It was like an alien.
Radio's about
alien, right?
No, Radio's about a football player that he's kind of got some challenges to himself, but he wants to play football. So it's about that he's mentally challenged, and so
I thought it was a movie about an alien thing that arrives in Earth, and then some kids find it, and it's another.
Don't you remember in the Eastside Catholic video? You had the radio. You were that was taken from the movie. It's a football film, but I just remember from the trailer, "We not teaching radio, radio teaching us." And I just kept thinking, "We not teaching Chappie, Chappie teaching us," because it really was that, and I couldn't get that out of my head. And I'm not going to knock the movie for that. That's just what I had going through my head, but I don't know. I guess I'll hit on one thing. We can maybe bounce back and forth, Norb, on our negatives. But my first negative, and maybe you can help me with this, but the main character, Dion, he gets captured by Ninja and Vincent and the other character, and they're going to kill him.
Ninja and Yolandi.
Yeah, and Ninja and Yolandi. That's right, Ninja Yolandi, and there was another character.
Another guy, part of that gang.
But they capture Dion, and they threaten him with his life. That they want him to build, get them control of the robots so they can turn them all off and make their big heist because they owe this guy $20 million. But at one point they let him go, and I could not, for the life of me, figure out why they let him go when just minutes earlier they were going to kill him. And not only they let him go, but he said, I'll be back. I got to go get some parts. And my brain is like self-destructing at that point. I'm thinking, did I miss something? I'm asking you, did I miss something?
I felt, there was a lot of times where I didn't get it either. And that was one of the big problems I had too, is that there was no logic. The logic in this movie was really hard to follow, the people's motivations. So they take him hostage. They're about to kill him because they want him to do this help them find a way to pull off a heist, and they figure, well, if he can get a robot in here and then do it. And so they have him at gunpoint. They're about to kill him. They spare his life, but only if he agrees to fix this thing. And I think maybe the reason they let him go is because he says he needs a part in order to do it, so he has to go back to the factory and get it. So the part that seems flawed
but to add to that, though, the main character, Ninja, this is the worst of the gang. He hates Dion. He hates Chappie. Chappie's like a little innocent child. He wants nothing to do with this. Why would he ever agree to let him go? He just wants to shoot the guy, dump Chappie, and figure out how to solve their problems another way.
Yeah. I'm trying to find who's the guy I'm rooting for in this thing, because you got the bad guy. I can't remember the other guy's name. The bad guy, not the guy who's in the gang leader, but the other guy who is wanting to collect the money. He's this bad cliche of bad guys you can come up with.
He's a cliche bad guy.
He's shooting people. I want power. 20 million. All right, so I'm going to hunt you down and get you. So he's like your disposable, over the top bad guy. And then you got the two people running the gang, and apparently these guys are from a rap duo called Die Antwoord.
Yeah,
Ninja and Yolandi.
And
I didn't
Ninja.
know this till Ninja and Yolandi are the two leaders of the gang, and I didn't know this until later. But as far as I'm concerned, these people were obnoxious as hell. I couldn't stand them. They were so loud and over the top, and I just I can't. They're like the opposite of Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber, you want to hang out with and hear what he might say next. And these guys, I couldn't wait for the scene to be over because they were so annoying. So that was another big problem. I didn't like these guys at all.
Speaking of Hans Zimmer scored the movie. He was
Oh,
the
he did.
composer. Yeah, apparently you
okay.
must have turned this off before the credits rolled.
Yeah, I was like done.
You were done with this movie as fast as you could be. Yes, Hans Zimmer scored this movie, and boy, wasn't it a memorable score?
I don't remember anything good or bad. It was just there.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, so there's a lot of logic flaws, because even at the beginning of it, first you're kind of drawn in by. It seems like Dion he's on the verge of figuring out artificial intelligence. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a whole play on artificial intelligence, and Chappie will have developed this artificial intelligence, and it's going to take it to the next level when he becomes self-aware and all that stuff. But anyway, even Dion is kind of a pathetic dude. All he cares about, he's going to help them because he just wants to survive. He wants to live, but he could have. And there are times when he just he'll do whatever he wants to live, but they let him go. At that point, he's like, why would you even go back there when you know they're probably going to kill you?
Well, that's the question I asked you.
Why come back?
I was confused.
Sense. It's like, they let me go. Yeah. Screw him. I'll just figure out another way to get my AI figured out, but I'm not going to go back to the gang who pretty much almost blew my head off and go back there just because he has a sudden, affection for Chappie. It made no sense. Why he not only left that one time, he leaves and comes back multiple times.
Yep.
But so then there's that, and then you've got Hugh Jackman, who basically plays. It's like, and this is where the Robocop part
His
comes
character
in.
is Vincent. He plays Vincent.
Vincent has what's essentially the Ed 209 of Robocop. It's the big,
totally
bulky.
Does. It was. But they call it the Moose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Ed 209 big time.
Ed 209. Maybe that was intentional. I don't know. But so Vincent is determined. His program is basically being shut down because of Chappie, much like in Robocop. The Robocop was shutting down the Ed 209 program. So he comes out with a plan to basically make all the other Chappie type robot droids malfunction so that they'd have to use his Ed 209 type thing. Well, he's a one-dimensional, no depth character as you can find. Sigourney Weaver barely had any lines, and all she does is sit there, fret around like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And just, I was like, what a waste. We just watched Aliens a few days ago, so just was appreciating how great she was.
Well, and what a waste of Hugh Jackman, too. He is an awesome actor, and he was a waste in this movie. They just made these guys like one-dimensional throwaway characters that were almost there just for the name. Maybe that's what it is. They just wanted them for the name and really had no use of their talents, which is unfortunate. But really, I think all that aside, what really annoyed me was there was a part in the movie where the whole time Ninja, the gang leader, he's really impatient. And every time they try to teach Chappie he has to learn. He's like an infant when he's born. So they got to teach him everything, teach him how to talk, teach him how to recognize objects, all that stuff, which you get. It's like, okay, this is cool. You have to somehow teach him to be able to be so skilled that he can actually help with a bank heist or some kind of heist. But of course, Ninja's impatient. He just wants to start shooting stuff and he doesn't want to deal with this learning business. I'm all cool with that. But then at some point, he decides, after doing a few target practices, they decide to take him on the road. Well, first, he teaches them how to walk like a gangster. All of a sudden now, the leader of the gang decides, I need to make Chappie cool. So he's going to teach him how to walk. And they're playing this stupid, goofy hip-hop music. He's putting chains on his neck to make him look cool. He's going to make him walk cool. I'm like, where is this? This dude wanted to just destroy this thing if he wasn't going to be any use. And now he's teaching him how to walk like a gangster? It's like, where does this make any sense? When his life, every minute is important to get this thing going so he could get this heist pulled off to get that money before he runs out of time. Instead, he does this. Then they go and steal some cars randomly out in the just for what purpose, I don't know. It had served no point for the mission, but it was meant to be funny and bonding and show, I guess that Ninjas was sort of evolving beyond his just mean guy persona, but it made no sense at all. That really pissed me off. I don't know what you thought, but that was annoying as hell. I was really ready to just turn the movie off at that point, thinking it's not going to get any better. Well, Chappie won't shoot anyone because he won't kill people because that's the way his basic programming began. And so the way Ninja talks him into helping him is he teaches him to throw throwing stars and knives and says he's putting people to sleep. So he tells him to put people to sleep by hitting them with knives, and that's the way he's trying to fake him out. I agree with you. There was one line, probably the most memorable line in the movie to me, was where Ninja took Chappie into a illegal dogfighting arena. And of course, everybody runs for cover because they see Chappie and they think he's a police robot.
officer.
So they freak out, and so the whole place is deserted. But what's left behind is a dead dog and an alive dog. And Ninja Chappie notices the dead dog lying there, and he says, "Why is this dog dead?" And Ninja says, he points to the dead dog. He says, "In this world, you're either going to be that dog or you're going to be that dog." And he points to the dog that's alive. He says, "Which dog do you want to be?" I like that. That was the best line in the movie for me, because I thought, that was just a way to sum up the way Ninja thinks. It's about survival. And there's a lot of people that think that way. Yeah. I thought that visually did it for me. That's probably the best line in the movie and the most interesting concept explained in a simple way to where you could understand it. So I liked that. But otherwise, I'm with you. Ninja was a hard character to figure out because he was so mean, so angry at the beginning. But then, he slowly seems to kind of being a little nicer. But it was hard to go along with him.
It felt like instead of, normally if a character starts to change because you're spending time with them and they're, you start to appreciate their nicer side, but it wasn't like that. It felt more like the script didn't know what to make him. Like, oh, you know what, let's make him like this. He'll be funny here. And then here's going to be a little more heartwarming. But it didn't have that natural transition where it went from an evolution of a character where you felt like, oh, this guy's not that bad. It was more like, what the hell? All of a sudden he's like this now. So that part of it, it just didn't flow. And I don't know if the original iterations of the script, there was more to it, but it just felt like it just was like one moment he's this way, next moment he's like this, next moment there's no evolution. It just herky-jerked into another transformation to something different. The ending, you're hoping that the ending might save this, because sometimes movies,
you're hoping,
set it up well. The setup was good. And the second act really went to the toilet for me. And I thought, well, maybe somehow in the third act, they're going to do something really cool. And I'll be like, oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow, that was really good. I like how they did it.
Nope.
But sadly, it never did. They made it an interesting twist where at the end, it was all about trying to... See, Chappie's life was basically on an expiration date because he had a battery that was sort of fused. They couldn't switch it out. So no matter what happened, Chappie was going to die eventually because... his body could not last past
his battery
the body.
Was fused.
It was fused. It had like 5 days. He couldn't replace the battery. So once he discovered that, he knew he was going to die. And so, but they were still all trying to, which again, made no sense to me why there was any attachment to him, because you can't save him. He's going to die. There's no, if we do this, you'll be okay. He was going to die. But the twist was at the end, Chappie uses the internet, gets all this knowledge, and is able to figure out that through the use of this sort of virtual reality headset that you can channel all the knowledge from the headset, and you can actually, and this is a stretch, you can strip out the soul of a person into like binary code and then put it into another being, which I'm like, okay. So
this is where if you're gonna go down that road, you better have a good reason.
Yeah. So in the end, I like the fact that, okay, the little twist was, instead of it really all about Chappie surviving, Dion, his maker, he gets shot and he's going to die. He's got internal bleeding. He's got no chance. Chappie decides, I can save him. If I put that helmet on him, I can actually transfer his soul from his dying body and put him into another robot where he can live forever as a police robot. What a great existence, right? So he does it. He puts him on his helmet, he saves him. And then Chappie, too, also moves out of his own dying body, right? And then he puts himself into another
police unit.
Into another police. So we've got basically maker and robot apprentice now living in two new police bodies. But even that was not enough to make me one, to buy into that would actually work, and then two, to make the ending feel satisfying. And here the whole time you've got Vincent, played by Hugh Jackson. He finally gets the opportunity because he's short-circuited all, play on words, short-circuited all the other robot police officers. And so now he gets to go in there and he's going to go in to destroy everybody. He's going to destroy Chappie. He's going to destroy the gang. He's going to destroy Dion. So he's got his Ed 209 down there and he's destroying everybody. And it looks like he's going to just completely dominate everything. Well, at one point, Chappie is able to get this explosive placed in a perfect spot, but the detonator flies out of his hand. Oh no, he can't detonate. Oh, they were just about to take him down. But the detonator falls, kind of forgotten. Everybody sort of forgets the detonator's just laying on the ground. So then they go through a bunch of chases and the soul transformation. Yolandi gets shot trying to sacrifice herself for Chappie, which makes no sense because he's going to die anyway. And then you got Ninja and everybody's trying to hang on. And at the last second, after all this stuff, Chappie just looks over. Oh, look, the little detonator that we had seen earlier. Let me just pick that up and he destroys the thing. I was like, oh man, the old, oh yeah, that weapon we forgot about. It's still there. Look what I found. Solution to taking out the bad guy. So it was just so many. I mean, that's it. The ending went when the explosion happened. So did my feeling about this. Hope that the ending would save it for me. I don't know how you felt about that, but it was just every part where I think it was supposed to move my heartstrings felt like, nope, not doing it, guy. Sorry.
Well, two things for me. One thing earlier in the movie, another just, and I think sometimes when you're not into a film at the level you wish you would be, you start to notice little stuff. And Dion at his house, remember he had the two robots that would
clean up? Servant robots, yeah.
Yeah, he had servant robots, and so whenever he'd say something, they'd say, hello, Dion, miss. They had this really garbly voice, like 80s style, warbly, and I'm thinking, this is the future, and I can already talk to Alexa, and she sounds very clean, easy to understand, and yet in the future these robots talk in English that is so hard to you almost need to read the subtitles, which I know you probably were. But I was just thinking, why do they have to make them talk so old school when this is I don't know, this is one of the things I was thinking. But now we get into the biggie. So when you decide you can transfer a person's consciousness to a robot brain, and the way you do it is you press one button on the keyboard, and on the screen it says downloading consciousness ... and then there's a % taskbar, and that's it, downloading consciousness. And then add the fact that Chappie figured this out by networking about 8 PlayStation 4 home video game systems together to supply, I guess, the necessary brain power to download a consciousness. Okay, first of all, what are PS4s doing in the future? I don't know. I'm a little confused by that. But anyway, so you get into the download, when you say the way I download a consciousness is I press a button and it says on the screen downloading consciousness. You have to suspend your disbelief, and unfortunately, I wasn't into the movie where I could do that. So.
Yeah, so even the technical side. Now, again, this is Columbia Pictures. Columbia Pictures is owned by Sony. Sony owns the PlayStation. Sony owns Sony Vaio. So you see a lot of product placement in there. So I kind of get why they were doing it. But yeah, you're right. Why
should have been a PS8, you know?
Yeah.
Then I would have been okay with that. But okay, well, the PS8, that could have some processing power I don't know about yet.
See, but they don't sell PS8, so it's not as good of a product placement as the PS4. But
and now we're venturing into what I don't like about...
Immediately dated the movie in a way that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that whole thing. And I thought they actually did a pretty good job of trying to simulate the struggles technically, because we were talking about MS-DOS prompts on the previous show, but you know, they were actually, a lot of their troubleshooting was in kind of basic MS-DOS type screens. It wasn't like some fancy thing that had, you know, a bunch of graphics. A lot of it was like basic text just flying and then saying error. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of how it really would be if you're debugging code.
Yeah, it had a word bootstrap. I've seen bootstrap a lot, and that's a term used in common coding, is bootstrapping something.
Yeah, so it looked kind of legit in that regard. But then at the end, it just became that more simple download,
downloading consciousness.
Button. It's like, yeah, it's that simple. Yeah, your brain is. It was harder for them to implement, you know, the code to start the AI than it is to actually download a human being's soul. You know, I'm sure that's much more simpler. So. Yeah, interesting idea, but yeah, the execution, I think that's what it is. There could have been so many more interesting themes developed here with the universe that they laid out was actually a good one. Just the execution of what they did with the story and the actual characters really fell short of the potential it could have been. That's the sad part. It really had the potential, even though it was still going to be a ripoff of Short Circuit and Robocop, it still could have been more interesting. I think they were trying to take it to that next level that they didn't in those other movies, but they didn't. And those movies like Short Circuit and Robocop did so much better of a job of making, when you're going with the robot fish out of water story, Short Circuit was great. I mean, you really felt like these kids who find him really are just trying to help him get back to, keep him safe while the evil government's trying to hunt him down. And in Robocop, it's just about a guy who got killed, and now his soul, he still has memories of his old life as he's stuck in this police body. I mean, it was great. They did a great job of playing with that in a way that you bought it. In the end of this one, it was just too many things gone wrong, and then the end, their attempt to try to go down that route just didn't work, sadly.
Yeah, this movie, maybe it read good as a script, but sometimes the script-to-screen transition, you can have problems, and I think it failed somewhere along the way.
I read it was meant to be a trilogy, that they wanted to do a part 2 and a part 3, but because it failed so badly at the box office, that quickly ended. So, yeah, now I see why the reviews were not good for this.
Yeah,
it was hard enough to get past the Short Circuit comparison, but even now, as you and I decided to do this, trying to hope it got past the Short Circuit comparison, it actually fell short of the Short Circuit comparison, which is bad enough. So
I have a hard time recommending this movie. I did watch it with Brett, my 13-year-old son, and he liked it. So I guess I would say that if you have low expectations and you're not going to be very critical, check it out, because my 13-year-old enjoyed it, and he was a little disappointed that I didn't like it. And I said, "Hey, Brett, it's okay that you liked it." I said, it's good that you did. I said, you had a good time with it. That's great. And everyone's going to have different opinions of movies. Not everyone's going to always see things the same. But Norb and I do come from similar filmmaking backgrounds, and that's probably why we're similar on this one. But so I don't know. Would you recommend this, Norb?
No, no, I would not recommend it. We were gonna try to watch this as a family. Every day these days we kind of have discussions. Hey, what should we watch tonight? If it's a movie night, and I threw this out there, and they immediately saw the ratings, and we use these ratings. The Rotten Tomatoes, way heavy, are very heavily weighed when we are looking at what movies we want to watch. And they saw that, and I didn't even know how bad it was. So I saw, I was like, oh, it was like all bad critics, and even the audience score was bad. And if the audience score is bad, that's pretty bad. Because sometimes you have a bad critic score, but a pretty good audience score. They were both down there, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to put you guys through this one, and I'll watch this on my own. I'm glad I did. Otherwise, I'd be like, that would have been a waste of time. So, yep, nope, no recommendation here. Yeah. Save your money, save your time, watch something else. But
Chappie has checked out.
Chappie. Yep. Bye, Chappie. We'll never see you again. Didn't they do another Short Circuit? They actually did a sequel to Short Circuit, didn't they?
I think they did. I don't remember it.
I think though the main character wasn't there, and I think they made the Indian guy who was sort of like the comic relief in the first one a more key character. I don't think I ever saw it. I heard it was bad, but yeah, luckily they didn't do the same route on this one.
Well, for the surprise, I was going to pull out my Chappie figure.
Action figure?
Exactly. I don't have a Chappie action figure. I have nothing of Chappie collectability to share. So, of course, I tried to take my brain down a similar path. And I thought, what a great opportunity to talk about something that I really do like. And I don't think you liked it, Norb. Or maybe you did and it was Rob. But Chappie, of course, makes me think of Short Circuit, which makes me think of the song by El DeBarge called Who's Johnny, which is one of my favorite 80s songs. I love that song.
I like that song.
She said and smiled in her special way. I love that song. Okay, then it's Rob that didn't like it.
No, it's Dino. Dino hates that song.
Well, I think Rob doesn't like it either.
Yeah, maybe so. I like it. But I like that song.
And I love the music video. And I would play the music video, but we'd get, chalked up on copyright for YouTube, and so I can't. But the Who's Johnny music video is a great video, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could get the deepfake people to do the Who's Johnny music video and put in Chappie and all the characters from Chappie instead?
Oh man,
never happened. But I thought that's a funny idea. So yeah, what do you think about Who's Johnny, Norb?
I like that song. I mean, I liked a lot of the El DeBarge stuff that came out back in the day. But I think the real hardcore El DeBarge guys who really knew his music,
like Dino,
felt like Who's Johnny
Sold
was like
out.
the ultimate sellout, bad commercial pop music that goes away from the essence of what they really started their music as. But I personally, I just enjoyed it. I liked the song. I liked the movie. So to me, it was like the coming together of two great things.
Well, and back in the 80s, whenever they did a music video of a song and they actually got the stars from the movie to participate in the music video, that was awesome. And the Who's Johnny music video, they got Ali Sheedy to be in it. And that was so cool. You feel like when you see that happen, everything is truly connected.
Right.
It's like the end of the Ghostbusters music video.
Where the guys are walking down doing, who are you going to call? Ghost. It was like, hey, there's actually part of this. They didn't just take clips from the movie. They actually said, hey, can you guys spare a few minutes and shoot some scenes for the music video? Yeah, that is something cool. But what I think about with Short Circuit is that they filmed a lot of that in Oregon, along the coast there. And there's a bridge that is there between Washington and Oregon, and there's some scenes I think that were involved there with that. Rob would be the expert. Rob knows all about all those places where they filmed Short Circuit, but that just added something cool. The fact that there was a northwest connection, not quite Washington, but right there on the border, with a bordering South state there, was pretty cool that they shot a lot of that movie, in an area not too far from where we were. So, Short Circuit was good, and it's sad that we have to look back to that movie, that they couldn't get one right 30-something years later. And with all the technology and all the stuff that's at our availability, it all comes back down to you can have all the coolest sounds, special effects, but if you don't have your story and your cast and just logic sometimes things, if it just doesn't, you're watching going, why would he do that? As soon as you start questioning why somebody would do anything, it immediately takes you out. And that happened very early on, and unfortunately plagued the whole movie throughout from pretty much that moment to the rest of it. It just raised more questions than it did present something that you could follow and feel connected to.
Well, when you go back to the 80s too and talk about music videos, the Who's Johnny music video to me is the quintessential representation of 80s cheese and pop all blended together to work perfectly for me to make a wonderful 80s moment. The whole music video is Chico DeBarge on the witness stand in a courtroom being questioned, and the question is, who's Johnny? Who's John? And by the end of the video, the jury and all the people in the courtroom and the police officers and the judge are all dancing in the courtroom on their own to the song. And I mean, you look at that and think that is just the ultimate cheese ball. But I love it. I love it. It represents a happy time for me where people had fun and the songs were fun. There wasn't any of the seriousness and, we got to have things with edge like today. It was just about fun and happiness. I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, that's why Dino hates it so much. Happy-go-lucky, nothing's wrong with the world.
I don't want to be happy. That's right. I think you're absolutely right. That's probably a lot of it. Well, I am thankful for the Who's Johnny music video. So I'm hoping I've encouraged you enough to go YouTube it.
Yeah, or go watch the original Short Circuit too if you can find it somewhere. It's out there. It's out there someplace. All right. Well, not everyone can be a home run. Not every pass can be a touchdown. This was definitely a swing and a miss and a interception taken all the way back to the other direction. So avoid Chappie unless you want to watch something bad and want to study in bad filmmaking. That's basically what it comes down to. But. Well, that comes to the wrap of this episode. We want to, before we sign off, just thank you again for watching or listening to us. Please, if you have any comments or some ideas for future things you'd like to hear us talk about, don't be shy. Send us an email or put a comment where you can. Let us know your thoughts. But for those of you who are watching on YouTube, thanks for your support. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that notification bell so that you'll always be notified of a future episode. And to everybody who's listening on podcast, thanks for your support. And please continue to do so and tell your friends about us. We'd love to have more people listening because it's you guys that we do the show for. All right. I'm Norb.
And I'm Mike.
And we're the Watchmen.
Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.
Thanks for watching The Watchmen.
Please click on here to watch other episodes and be sure to hit that like button too.
And please subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you'll always be alerted to any future episodes.
It really helps us out and we appreciate it.
We'll see you next time. And remember, we'll be watching.